Hello and welcome to my How to Play Against Spawn guide. My name is MagicTea and I'm a competitive MK player and Twitch partner from Latvia. Spawn is my latest main, but I've already played several thousand games with him and used him in some online tournaments as well, so I have a good amount of experience to share. In this video I will tell you how to beat Spawn, all of his weak points and gimmicks and how to counter them. Before we start, be sure to subscribe to DashFight for more character guides and check out their website for all things FGC. Spawn is known for his long-range strings and ability to deal a lot of damage, and it's mainly because of this charging Hellspawn move, so most of the time Spawn players will be using this move that takes 2 ability slots, and the last slot is flexible, which could potentially be any other custom move, but usually it's Lethal Glide for even more combo damage, or Soul Forfeit for easy crushing blows. Could also see Plasm Pull for extra meter regeneration, or Rising Hell Low Special for mix-ups. All the other moves are usually not as good because they have some hard counters or replace a useful base move, but I will explain how to counter them exactly later as well. Now let's talk about how to actually counter Spawn's moves and strings. 1-1, this is a common string you will see a lot from Spawns, and there is a reason for that. It's +2 on block, which means that Spawn's follow-up down 1 will come out faster than any of your attacks, so you have to respect it and block, unless your character has a good backdash, which Robocop has. Then you can backdash and whiff punish the down 1. But be careful, because backdash can be punished as well, so that becomes like a mix-up. Flawless blocking down 1 could be an option as well. 1-1 string has 2 follow-up options. 1-1-2, which is safe and you just take your turn or back away, and second option is 1-1 back 2, that is plus on block, but because of pushback it doesn't give Spawn any real follow-up. Besides, it's also interruptible. 3-4, this is Spawn's signature string that gets used a lot. It has a long range and can be followed up with a special move. String on its own is unsafe, but Spawn can use his projectile with Amplify to make it safe. The regular version of projectile is a high, so if there is no Amplify, then projectile can be ducked and punished. First hit of 3-4 is a high, so it's also possible to duck it or low profile with some long low pokes. It also has a long recovery on whiff, so if you see it whiffing, you can go in and punish it with long range strings or projectiles. Back 1-2. This is launching mid-string with second hit being overhead, but it's unsafe on block, so stay in block and punish every time. Usually Spawn will do back 1 into projectile and block to make it safe, but it doesn't jail from farther distance, and on some smaller characters it never jails, so you can make a read or see that Spawn has no meter to amplify and duck it. Another tricky option appears with this string if Spawn is using the Rising Hell Low special. It gives him a low option instead of overhead, so you have to duck block it. It's also safe on block when amplifying. Good news is that it comes out faster than the overhead, so you can block low first, then stand up with a small delay to also block the overhead option. Just have to remember to duck again to block the second low from the special. 2-4 up 3-2. This is a string that's +4 on block, but the last hit has a gap and becomes unsafe in flawless block. So whenever you see that knee animation, you can flawless block and punish. Then there are 2 strings from forward 2. Both of them are pretty minus if completed, but usually they get cancelled into fireball after second hit. Forward 2-1 up 2 is -14 with little pushback, and forward 2-3-4 is much more minus at -23. Also, fireball is always duckable after forward 2-3 and potentially punishable. For forward 2-1 fireball, only characters with smaller hitboxes can duck it, like Joker or Johnny. Lastly, there is forward 4-1-3, just a safe low starting string, can safely take your turn after. Fireball from it cannot be ducked, but if there is no meter to amplify, then it's easily punishable. Also want to mention Spawn's throw. Forward throw has a unique requirement for Spawn to be in the corner, and it leads to a full combo, so it can hurt really bad. So keep that in mind and take forward throw, or try to predict it and duck into punish. And now let's take a look at all the special moves. First, starting with base moves. Soul Shattering War Club. This is a base move and it's very unsafe on block unless amplified. Also, amplified hit has a gap and can be flawless blocked, but because of the pushback, usually you cannot punish it unless you have something like really long range up 2 or up 3 or fast special like Sub-Zero slide. It's also an armor break, so usually you don't want to use breakaway against Spawn with this special move. He won't have the charging Hellspawn launcher anyway, so combos won't hurt as much. Necroblast. This is Spawn's base projectile. First it is a high, so try ducking it, and when amplified it shoots a mid projectile that can also be delayed. Totally safe on amplify and from distance even plus, so can't really do anything about it after blocking. Some characters including Robocop can low profile amplified projectile to avoid chip damage. Unholy Veil. This is a projectile parry that gives Spawn a crushing blow launcher after successfully absorbing a projectile. And after absorbing a projectile it also becomes a mid. Otherwise it's usually a high that you can duck whenever you see it. It also has a cancel that goes defensive meter, but it doesn't give Spawn any frame advantage. It's actually always unsafe, but since it's hard to react, you can at least take your turn. Fatal Phantasm. This is combo under the 3 stands and gives Spawn plus frames, plus 4 or plus 5 sometimes, so you can't press anything if he does it down 1. But it has a very slow startup and recovery. If you block this, then this is a full combo punish, and using breakaway could let you wake up before it recovers and punish as well. Rest of the moves are going to be custom moves that need to be equipped to have them. First, charging Hellspawn. This is the launcher that enables big spawn damage, and equipping it replaces the War Club armor break move, so you don't have to worry about your breakaway getting countered by it. Usually the charge doesn't get used on block, but if you block it, then it's really unsafe. Full combo punish every time after blocking. On top of that, it has really slow startup and a lot of recovery, so using breakaway can often let you recover before spawn and punish. Air Lita Glide. This lets Spawn float in the air up to 3 times. Usually it's pretty slow on its own and is used in combos mainly. Can be air to air or anti-air if you have some good anti-air specials. Soul Forfeit. This is a buff that lasts entire round and makes Spawn's crushing blows have no requirements like in practice mode. Spawn also loses 1 offensive meter till the end of match, so it usually gets used in the final round. Main thing to remember is that the forward throw that was a crushing blow in the corner only now can be used everywhere, so take forward throws if Spawn tries to grab. Otherwise, if you get launched, then use breakaway to minimize damage taken, and if Spawn doesn't do a breakaway safe combo, then you could even get a punish sometimes. Invoking the Legion. This is another buff and it conflicts with Soul Forfeit, so there can only be 1 at a time. This is a temporary buff around 10 seconds that lets Spawn use his Fatal Blow without being at low health with reduced damage. And as you will see, the damage is reduced quite a lot. Alternatively, it also makes his Fatal Blow 10% stronger if he is at low health already. Overall pretty underwhelming buff, especially compared to Soul Forfeit, so you most likely won't ever see it. Gun Blazing. This is a pretty bad projectile and probably won't be seen too much, but it's a high that often whiffs, so you can duck it. And if amplified, it stays high, so you can duck that part as well and punish after. And the worst part is that it replaces the base projectile, so that's another reason for Spawn players to never pick it. Blaze of Glory. This is a 2-part special. First part is a low parry that Spawn can extend by holding the button. It will parry all low attacks and also pokes like down 1 that are technically mids. After successful parry, Spawn gets a crushing blow as well. Then the second part is a low hitting gunshot, which is unsafe, but can also be amplified, which is still unsafe. And on top of that, it's also a high, so you can also duck it and then punish. One tricky thing with this special could be back 1-2 or back 1 into special mix-up, but this can be fuzzy guarded by blocking high first and then blocking low because the special comes out later than the overhead. Hell Chain. This is a high command grab that replaces the cape projectile parry, but for some reason it whips on duck blocking opponents, so you don't even have to release block to make it whip. so as long as you're blocking low it won't hit you. Spawn can become invisible after hitting his command grab, and landing another amplified command grab while invisible will give him a crushing blow. In this situation you just have to guess what he's going to do while invisible. This command grab could also be used after back 1 as a tick drop because you have to stand block the back 1 too, but just like with Blaze of Glory special you can fuzzy guard it by blocking high first and then blocking low. Lita stance. This is a stance that has 3 options. One is mid attack that's unsafe on block, so punish that. Second option is cancel that has pretty long recovery, so there are no tricks here. And last option is a low that's -14 and technically unsafe, but only if you have some fast special like Sub-Zero Slide or Liu Kang's Flying Kick. Otherwise you just have to block it. Now that we have seen all the moves and how to counter them, let me tell you about general game plan against Spawn and some good counter characters. Against Spawn you don't want to be in his 3-4 range. Best place is to be farther away because his long range attacks also have a long recovery and can be punished if they whiff. This range is also good to shoot some projectiles and outzone Spawn. Have to keep in mind that he has a projectile parry, but it only parries single projectile and doesn't parry low projectiles, so there will be no answer to them. Alternatively, it's possible to stay close to Spawn and try to rush him down because his up-close game is not that strong. Need to keep in mind that Spawn has a really good movement, so he will look for backdash into whiff punish. But if you are fast enough to counter poke or use advancing attacks, then you should keep him in place. His only decent poke special is the low hitting Rising Hell move, and most of the time it's not even equipped. Also Spawn doesn't have any fast mids, so low pokes are very effective to interrupt his offense. The best characters to deal with Spawn from long range are the ones with long low pokes that can go under 3-4 and good zoning, for example Frost with her long down 4 and multi-hitting projectiles that Spawn cannot parry. Cetrion also has long range pokes and really good zoning that Spawn cannot parry. Both of them can also low profile the amplified mid projectile as well with their down 3. Other zoners with low profiling properties can give Spawn problems as well, like Robocop, Noob Saibot, Sindel, and even Rambo and Cassie. For fighting against Spawn up close it's useful if you have a low profiling hitbox, so Joker and Johnny can be a good choice. They don't even have to release block to duck Spawn's first projectile in many strings, so it makes punishing it much more easier and limits Spawn's up close options. In the end, the best overall counter pick I would say is Sub-Zero. He wins zoning with his Frostball, and even if Spawn parries it, then the offense Sub-Zero recovers in time to block it. Slide is a really good option that goes under Spawn's projectiles and can punish long pushback strings like 3-4. So Sub-Zero can just slide after blocking 3-4, which will punish it every time and make Spawn go for some YOLO charges on block that are super unsafe. On top of that, with jumping axe ability it becomes really hard for Spawn to end-tire. That's gonna be it for how to play against Spawn guide by MagicTea. There was a lot of information, and if you missed anything you can also check out all the things shown in this video in the text version via the link in the description. If you like this video, please leave a like or comment below with your thoughts. Thanks for watching.